Dante Daniel. Danny Bonaduce is an American radio television personality, comedian, professional wrestler, and former child actor. Born in Broomall, Pennsylvania, Bonaduce is the son of veteran TV writer-producer Joseph Bonaduce. The younger Bonaduce became famous as a child actor of the 1970s on the sitcom television series The Partridge Family. Bonaduce co-starred as Danny Partridge, the wisecracking, redheaded middle son of the singing pop band. He and Shirley Jones were the only Partridge cast members whose actual first names were also that of the character he/she portrayed on screen. Danny was the fictional pop group's bass guitar player. Bonaduce was part of the Adam Carolla Show in 2007. In 2008 he was given a daily one-hour solo spot known as Broadcasting Bonaduce, which was broadcast locally on the LA-based KLSX station. In February 2009, it was announced that the station had changed its format from Talk to Top 40, and the removal of Broadcasting Bonaduce from the KLSX schedule was confirmed. On November 10, 2008, Bonaduce began hosting the morning drive time on WYSP in Philadelphia, where he remained until the announcement that WYSP would go off the air. His final broadcast on that station was on August 26, 2011. Bonaduce has been performing a morning talk music show at Seattle radio station KZOK-FM since November 14, 2011. Early life. By his own account, Bonaduce grew up in a dysfunctional family and suffered severe physical and emotional abuse at the hands of his father, veteran TV writer and producer Joseph Bonaduce. He is of half Italian descent on his father's side, and English descent on his mother's. Career: acting. Bonaduce made a small appearance in Bewitched Season 5 Episode 22 Going Ape as a young boy in the park whose chimpanzee follows Samantha and Tabitha home. This is a credited appearance which was broadcast February 27, '69. In the television series The Partridge Family, Bonaduce played the role of Danny Partridge, a member of the musical Partridge Family. In the show, the Partridges were a family band that toured the country in their hip, Mondrian-inspired, painted school bus. Danny Partridge played bass guitar for the band and his younger siblings, Tracy and Chris, contributed to the band as percussionists. The series ran for 4 seasons, from 1970 to 1974 and, in 2003, Bonaduce was honored by the Young Artist Foundation with its former Child Star Lifetime Achievement Award for his role on the series. Bonaduce's eponymous debut LP was released in 1973 by Lion Records, a subsidiary label of MGM Records. Bonaduce has admitted that his vocals can barely be heard on the album. Most of the singing was provided by Bruce Roberts. Bonaduce made several movies during and after the run of The Partridge Family. Perhaps the most memorable of his films was Corvette Summer, starring Mark Hamill. Hamill and Bonaduce played high school students who went in search of a stolen customized Corvette Stingray. Bonaduce also made guest appearances on several TV shows, including multiple appearances on the popular police dramedy Chips. His career withered in the early 1980s. Bonaduce and Partridge Family co-star Dave Madden made cameo appearances in a 1994 episode of Married with Children. That same year, he appeared on an episode of Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Later, when the episode was supposed to be on DVD, he refused it because he didn't like the show. He has also guest-starred in the first 2 episodes of the 7th season of CSI, Crime Scene Investigation, and is the son of Shirley Jones' character in the 4th season of The Drew Carey Show. Bonaduce has appeared as himself on the detective series Monk, and on the show Girlfriends. Bonaduce guest-starred with J.D. Roth on an episode of Sex Wars. In 1999, Bonaduce appeared in the Christmas episode, Sabrina, Nipping at Your Nose, of Sabrina, the Teenage Witch. After Salem buys a 12 Days of Christmas package at the 89-cent store, Bonaduce appears sitting in a pear tree, which Salem then exclaims, "Danny Bonaduce. This is the best partridge in a pear tree I could ask for." He also played a small cameo role in The Jerk Theory. Radio and post-Partridge television. In the late 1980s, Bonaduce had become an on-air radio personality. He worked an overnight shift at Philadelphia's WEGX-FM. In 1996, it was announced that an eponymous syndicated talk show would be hosted by Bonaduce, that is, The Danny Bonaduce Show. A reunion of most of the cast of the Partridge Family was confirmed, including last season regular Ricky Siegel and executive producer Bob Claver. Susan Day was unable to attend, but called into the show and reminisced with Bonaduce for a few minutes. David Cassidy was working on a new album at the time and was unable to participate in the show. From 1994 to 1996, Bonaduce hosted his own radio show on the Loop WLUP-FM The Danny Bonaduce Show. Between 1996 and 1998, Bonaduce hosted a morning radio show in Detroit on WKQI with comedian and Last Comic Standing winner Jonny Fairplay. From 2001 to 2003, Bonaduce co-hosted The Other Half, a daytime talk show positioned as a complimentary show to The View, on which he starred with Mario Lopez, Dick Clark, and cosmetic surgeon Dr. Jan Adams. During this time, he was also a Hollywood correspondent for the Australian morning show Today. In 2007, Bonaduce was both host and judge of the show I Know My Kid's a Star, a reality show on VH1 featuring parents and children trying to break into show business. He also appeared as a judge on the Australian version of the show, My Kid's a Star. Television news channels have been used by Bonaduce to express his political views during his guest appearances. He is a strong supporter of capital punishment and a strong military. Several controversial statements have been made by Bonaduce regarding left-wing or liberal celebrities, such as his remarks that Jane Fonda should have been shot for treason for her role in support of the Vietnamese authorities during the Vietnam War. He also stated on MSNBC's Scarborough Country that personally I think at this point if anyone had a rope thick enough, I think that Rosie should be strung up for treason, referring to Rosie O'Donnell. Bonaduce, admitting his own less-than-stellar track record, gets the last laugh as a commentator for TRU-TV's TRU-TV Presents, World's Dumbest. From 2008 to 2013. On the show, he ripped off one of his own eyebrows on screen. Bonaduce appeared in a Christmas Day episode of 1 vs. 100, where much of the mob was connected to the 12 Days of Christmas including Bonaduce's The Partridge in a Pear Tree in reference to Danny Partridge. Bonaduce starred in Breaking Bonaduce in 2005, a reality television show on VH1. In one famous scene, often described as the greatest in reality television history, Bonaduce falls off the wagon in dramatic style by riding his Razor scooter down a hill, through a red light to reach a convenience store, where he buys a half pint of vodka, slamming it in one gulp. He also hosted the short-lived tabloid-themed game show Starface, on the Game Show Network. He appeared in 2 episodes of Gene Simmons' Family Jewels. In the first episode, Bonaduce helped Simmons' partner Shannon Tweed to determine if a lie detector could possibly be defeated by Simmons. In the second episode, Bonaduce appeared with Adam Carolla while Simmons was hooked up to a lie detector. Questions were posed both to Gene Simmons and Shannon by Bonaduce while each was hooked up to the polygraph machine. Bonaduce received an award from the comedic TV show The Soup in 2009, and in a scripted sketch, he refused to read his acceptance speech, and then he kissed show host Joel McHale. Bonaduce also appeared in the crime scene drama CSI based out of Las Vegas, Nevada where he was the victim of the infamous miniature killer as a character known as Izzy Delancey, a once great but philanderous rock star. On October 31, 2011, it was announced by Seattle radio station 102.5 KZOK that Bonaduce would be co-hosting their morning drive show beginning on November 14, 2011. Bonaduce came to Seattle from a radio stint at 94 WYSP in Philadelphia, following a format change from classic rock to all-sports radio in September 2011. Danny's Seattle Morning Show is on from 5:45 a.m. to 9 a.m. every weekday and podcasts are available on iTunes. Danny Bonaduce is an ordained minister. He was ordained online in order to perform a wedding ceremony as part of a 94 WYSP radio promotion in early 2011. He received his ordination from the Universal Life Church World Headquarters of Caribou, FL. Altercation with Jonny Fairplay, on October 2, 2007, Bonaduce was involved in an altercation with infamous Survivor show participant Jonny Fairplay Dalton during the Fox Reality Awards. Toward the end of the awards show, Dalton appeared on stage and was booed by the audience. Bonaduce walked on stage and explained that the audience reaction was, "Because they hate you." Bonaduce was walking off the stage as Dalton called him back. Dalton then jumped on Bonaduce to hug him, and Bonaduce stated later that he was uncomfortable with Dalton's hands near his throat. Bonaduce, a black belt in Tang Soo Do, adjusted his balance and grip, and threw Dalton over Bonaduce's head. Dalton fell to the floor, face first. Dalton stood up after a few moments and staggered before slowly walking off stage, his back to the audience. Bonaduce then smiled and proceeded to make faces and exaggerated shrugging motions at the audience before walking off stage. Bonaduce later said the two had never previously had any negative altercations or words, but that they had met occasionally in the past. He said he had never liked Dalton, mostly because Dalton, in true Jonny Fairplay form, had lied about his grandmother's death during his first run on Survivor. While Bonaduce did not believe Dalton was significantly hurt at the time, TMZ.com confirmed that Fairplay bled significantly, lost some teeth and suffered a broken toe. Dalton chose to press charges, and a felony battery investigation was opened by the police. On October 5, 2007, the LA District Attorney's Office concluded that there was insufficient evidence to prove Bonaduce had committed a battery, because the contact had been initiated by Dalton and Bonaduce had acted in self-defense. Boxing and wrestling. As an adult, Bonaduce boxed Donny Osmond in a charity event and later boxed former Brady, Barry Williams, in a separate event. Both contests were won by Bonaduce, gaining a decision over Osmond and a TKO over Williams. On June 11, 2007, it was announced that Bonaduce would box attorney Robert Shapiro for a charitable event. On September 13, 2008, Reverend Bob Levy was defeated by Bonaduce by a TKO in the second one-minute round of a planned three-round fight. Prior to the event, Levy had slapped Bonaduce while visiting Bonaduce's dressing room. It was announced in early January 2009 that Bonaduce would box against retired baseball player Joseph Canseco at a charity event in the Philadelphia area. Bonaduce reportedly trained for the fight in Sacramento, California with boxing great Angelo Noir +or-minuses. On January 24, 2009, it was confirmed that Bonaduce and Canseco had fought to a majority draw, even though Canseco outweighed Bonaduce by 100 pounds, and had a 1-foot height advantage. Bonaduce was a key player in the series Hulk Hogan's Celebrity Championship Wrestling. In April 1994, it was announced that Bonaduce would be making his professional wrestling debut in a dark match at the Spring Stampede in Chicago. On April 17, 1994, Bonaduce stepped into the squared circle at the Rosemont Horizon. His adversary was another 1970s TV star, the Brady Bunch's Christopher Knight. Bonaduce triumphed. Bonaduce had his second professional wrestling match at Total Nonstop Action Wrestling's April pay-per-view event Lockdown against Eric Young, in which he lost. On November 14, 2010, Danny Bonaduce teamed with Jimmy Deo to defeat the Dark Dragons at Regional Championship Wrestling's Mega Brawl 5 in Reading, PA. Writing. In 2002, Bonaduce released an autobiography, Random Acts of Badness. Personal life. The younger Bonaduce became famous at the age of 11 in the television series The Partridge Family, starring as the middle son, Danny Partridge. Danny stood out with his naturally red hair and wisecracking. His character was the constant bane of the family's manager, Reuben Kincaid, portrayed by Dave Madden. In real life, Madden was something of a second father to Bonaduce, taking Danny into his home during periods of domestic strife in the unregistered trademark's own home. Bonaduce also had a close relationship with co-star Shirley Jones. Following the end of the series, Bonaduce's late teens and 20s involved drug abuse and even a period of homelessness. On his own radio show on August 4, 1997, the actor told listeners that he had lived in his car behind Grauman's Chinese Theatre for a time, while being greeted by fans and autograph seekers. In 1985, Bonaduce married Japanese real estate agent Setsuko Hattori. The marriage lasted 3 years. On November 4, 1990, Bonaduce met second wife Gretchen Hilmer on a blind date and, on a whim, they married the same day. Despite the unusual start to the marriage, the two remained married for over 16 years and had 2 children together, Isabella and Dante. On April 9, 2007, the two divorced, citing irreconcilable differences. Bonaduce began dating his current wife, Amy Railsback, in April 2007. They met at a Starbucks in the Los Angeles area. Railsback, who is 23 years his junior, is a former substitute schoolteacher. She now manages Bonaduce's career full-time, runs Gravel Tones Productions Incorporated, and is occasionally seen in sketches on The Smoking Gun Presents, World's Dumbest. On TOU-TV. Danny proposed to Amy in March 2009, and the couple married on November 22, 2010 at the Four Seasons on Maui, Hawaii. They maintain homes in both Los Angeles and Seattle. Arrests. Bonaduce had several arrests following his Partridge Family days, but 2 were especially high-profile incidents. On March 9, 1990, he was arrested while attempting to buy cocaine in Daytona Beach, Florida. Ironically, Bonaduce was there to host an event for DARE, an anti-drug campaign aimed at children. Bonaduce was suspended from WEGX, and then reinstated under the condition he attend therapy and drug rehabilitation. He was eventually fired from WEGX and moved to a shift at KKFR-FM in Phoenix, Arizona. On March 31, 1991, he was arrested on charges of robbing and beating a transvestite prostitute in Phoenix. Police found him hiding in a closet in his apartment. Police alleged he had picked up the prostitute in his car. According to the police report, Bonaduce beat and kicked the prostitute before taking his money back. Residents heard screaming and called police. When I picked him up, Bonaduce later explained, I thought he was a girl. I picked him up, he got in my car. As soon as he got in and the dome light hit him, it was obvious. He wasn't a good transvestite. If he was a good transvestite, I might never had known. I was wasted. He gets in the car and I said, oh, sorry, wrong car. And he says, well, you took me off my corner, give me $40. I said, dude, wrong car, hop out. This went on for 6 or 7 minutes and he still wouldn't get out. So I get out of the car, opened his door and pulled him out of the car. But when I did, I see he's this huge guy, about 220 pounds. I weighed 150 pounds. I attacked him first, not because I wanted to, I just thought I was going to have to and I'm too small to take the punishment from a 220-pound man. If he had hit first, I would have gone down and stayed down. So I attacked him and it turned into a fight. Following his arrest, he was fired by KKFR. In 2010, while appearing on a reunion of famous TV families on NBC's Today, David Cassidy remarked, whenever Bonaduce gets arrested, for some reason, people call me. The two remain friends and have performed together on many occasions in the years following the Partridge Family. Notes. References: March 2009, Bonaduce proposes to girlfriend, external links, official website, Danny Bonaduce at the Internet Movie Database, Danny Bonaduce at nndb.com, interview with Danny, and more about the music. When Young Stars Burn Out Mission, Movies, January 10, 2009 audio interview with In Your Head.